Welcome, everybody. You ever feel like your life is just too complicated? There's too much family drama going on. You don't know who you love sexually and who you're related to. Sometimes it's both.
Welcome to the attic.
It's VC's Peasies. Welcome, dear viewer.
Hi.
Dear viewer, dear listener. Dear listening viewer.
Oh my god, I think we have two now. We have a listener and a viewer.
Oh my god, two dears.
You may be asking yourself, why I see you, bitch.
I ask myself that in the morning every time I look in the mirror.
Why I see you, bitch.
Not even the morning, just anytime.
Roughly the day. And the answer is, you love it, and so do we ourselves. So we decided to dip the toesies into a little more video. I think right now the plan is the beginning and end of a family.
Yes, so it'll be like we'll have like premiere, finale, premiere, finale, premiere,
I like
finale.
the way you phrase that. Phrasing.
That is the plan. Because shout out at the beginning, my friend Coburn is awesome, and he's going to edit these. Because try as I might, and I know that the last one was like super tech savvy. I just couldn't get it to render.
We just don't tech. We don't tech.
No.
We tried.
So
we tried a soup song.
So I'm paying him in whiskey flights from my work, which I think is a great deal.
Yes, and here we do be. I would like it noted in the record of time that it's 20-ish degrees out, and I'm very angry about being in the attic. But I'm not. We're not going to be. I'm not going to be here.
Do you want to do a breath?
I try to breathe all the time.
Oh. We just had brunch. You corned beefed in my face.
Look,
I planned that terribly.
Yeah, it's not like I don't keep a toothbrush here. Should I?
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck. Next time we mouth at each other. So it's time. Yep. For Rubalicious.
My body's so rubalicious for you, babe.
I just want you to know that my first note before we step back. Hi, I'm Katie. This is Tia.
Welcome. Oh, I'm Tia. This is Katie.
Pieces.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for thing. My first note is number 1 on the cover and step back. So first of all, I don't know if you can see the glory of this cover. It's like it's nice. It's got like a shimmer. So number 1, if it's like a gold glitter, yes. Second of all, through the windy. What the look at Grand Bear.
Grand Bear is a monster.
What the fuck? That was killing me. I just kept looking at him.
He's so much larger.
Maybe
he's like 9 feet tall.
I think he's on a step stool. He could be on a step stool. So
he's on the stilts they build the houses on.
Oh yes, we'll get there. So this was very fun for me.
I was trying to help you.
No, I was doing a thing. I was peeking through the window. Oh, you wrecked it. Anyway,
I did.
Flap it back.
Okay, so yes, we've moved on to the laundry family. To our dear listener and our dear viewer, our plan is to go through it pretty chronologically. Just so you know, I know some of you have asked about what our plans are. Some of you want to read along, which is so exciting for us to see. Like, it's really nice. We talk about it all the time. Like every time we get a comment we're we're just like, oh my god, people are actually watching and they like it and they listen and they're like it.
Roughly chronological is. Yep, that's good.
Why'd you touch that?
Okay, I was fixing the things. I was trying to make sure. Roughly, we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Roughly chronologically, after the Landrys is the Logans.
Yep.
Yes, there you go. So
yeah, that's also the easiest way to say. We just like got on VC Wikipedia and we're just going on thrift books, buying the chunks at a time. So
we're chunking good.
So now you know.
Now you know. So tell us about what are we in store for?
Well, we're in store for going down to Bayou.
The Bayou.
We're on a Bayou. Ruby was. born on a bayou.
Ruby Roo. Okay.
This is the debut of a brilliant new series. And here I go with back flapping it one more time. In the heart of the bayou, Ruby Landry lives a simple, happy life. But innocence can't last forever. Ellipses. The only family Ruby Landry has ever known are her loving guardian, Grand-Mère Catherine, a Cajun spiritual healer, and her drunken outcast, Grand-Père Jacques. Although thinking about her dead mother and mysterious father sometimes makes her feel as mournful as the wind sighing through the Spanish moss. Ruby is grateful for all she has. Her life is filled with hope and promise, especially when her attraction for handsome Paul Tate blossoms into a mysterious, wonderful love. But Paul's wealthy parents forbid him to associate with a poor Landry. And Grand-Mère urges her to follow her dream of becoming a great painter.
A painter.
Peintre. Foreseeing a time when Ruby will be surrounded with riches in the dazzling city of New Orleans. Nolans. Yet she cannot know how close that uncertain future looms. In a faded photograph, Ruby glimpses for the first time the image of her father, and learns of a shameful deception and a shocking scheme of blackmail that now must come to light. Stunned by these revelations, she is devastated when Grand-Mère dies, leaving her to seek out her father in his vast New Orleans mansion.
Spoiler alert, okay.
There, in a house of lies, madness, and cruel torment, Ruby clings to her memories of Paul. Of Paul to keep her heart alive. For only their love can save her now? Ellipses.
I do like how you say the ellipses.
Yeah.
It really seems to bother you the way they just trails off. Just trails off.
Plus, it's a 4-period ellipses, and they're supposed to be 3.
Okay. Yeah, so that
is the debut of a brilliant new series.
Yeah, we open with another dead mama.
I know. Immediate dead mom. But. But
what?
We have actual dates.
They say it right there. 19.
They say it. May 1st, 1927 to October 27th, 1947. Gabrielle Landry.
So it's 52. 1952. Did I
She's 15.
47.
So 62.
62. I typed the wrong thing.
But we know what year it is, and it's so exciting.
I'm going to edit that right now. I'm just going to.
Why?
Because I'm going to get confused later. I definitely referenced it when reading the next one.
Oh,
because I was like, oh, what year is it? Oh, okay. So, yeah, we got Ruby.
Ruby, who lives with Grand-Mère Catherine.
Grand-Mère
Catherine.
Grandpa Jack is a swamp shacking man.
Yeah, he moved out to a shack when Mom died. I immediately wondered, is he the dad? That was my first wonder. Yeah, because incest.
Because why wouldn't you?
Because incest. Because we're reading a V.C. Andrews book.
I noticed straight out the gate. So we open in the swamp shack, and it's swamp shack time. And Teresa, a stout girl with a heavy bosom, comes. Why note a bosom if it's not heavy or?
Oh, heavy.
If it's just heavy.
Why not note a bosom? Period. You're in a V.C. Andrews novel. Everyone's going to know about your bosom.
I've never seen a different bosom. Have we noted?
No, they've been small bosoms. They've been budding breasts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Budding or large?
Large. Yeah, no, I think they've been like...
Is there a mid-range bosom? I
don't think so. No. I think it's either small or large. Yeah.
Sorry, average breast size in America, whatever that is. So I felt the need to notate that because anytime like a bosom is noted, that's funny. We are introduced to the idea that Grand-Mère is a
traiteur.
She does a healings.
She's like a swamp shaman.
A swamp shaman. Yes.
Yeah, right? Basically.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
What do you got here, friend? I just kind of have this random like Grandpa Jack is covered in shark teeth. I don't think that's his vibe. He's covered in shark teeth. Not like as like a. He's not like an X-Man. Like covered in shark teeth. He wears
What X-Men is covered in shark teeth?
He's not
You don't know comic books. Don't even try.
He's not a mutant. He hasn't mutated into like a skin of shark teeth.
This is why it's great that we come to you live when we discuss these books, because this is where we are.
Necklaces. And I also wrote, Daddy passed through town and did a wild carefree fuckins on Ruby's mom.
Yep.
Okay, great.
They're like, they went to a dance and just horned out all over each other and made you.
Just flying.
So for money, Ruby and her grandmother weave blankets. Ruby paints. They sell them on the side of the road.
Handicrafts, a shack of handicrafts.
And Ruby paints her mystery dad a lot.
Yeah.
She likes to paint him like mysteriously. I'm going to French accent this so hard. I've been learning French for a couple of years now on Duolingo, and this is really hard for me not to do an accent.
I notated that they are the Swamp Castiles, essentially. Because of the signs that say, no Landry.
Yes!
No Landry.
Swamp Castiles.
Swamp Castiles.
Girl, they are.
Swamp Castiles. No There's like, there were signs back in the day that say, like, help wanted, no Landrys, which I find hard to believe.
Really? In this fictional book?
We're introduced to Paul Tate, who's got big Logan Stonewall energy.
Yeah, but you forgot about Teresa's knocking on the door.
I notated the bosom and was done with her.
Well, the reason she was knocking on the door, that's how we get introduced to like how mystical Swamp Shaman Grand-Mère is.
She's a swamp shaman.
She's like, help, there's a dead baby, we gotta go. And so they
chase the baby spirit.
Yeah, so they have to like hustle with a lantern through the swamps. And they get to this house and they're like, oh no, this baby died. And Ruby's like, why would a baby haunt anyone? And her grandmother's like, no, it's like if a baby dies, there's like a devil. And we gotta like fucking get the devil. So they gotta pour holy water in every piece of like actual water, any standing water. Bloop, bloop. And apparently the last one, which was like out in the yard, some mysterious place.
The yard.
She like saw.
It's like a cistern.
In a cistern. She saw like a shadow go and whew, it touched her face and she was like, oh, I believe. And then she went home and Paul was there. Paul Tate running up on his scooter.
Wow. That was an excellent summary that I gave 0 farts about. But anyway, Paul's got big Logan Stonewall energy. He's wealthy family, wealthy to do. He is handsome and they throb for each other. FYI.
With like 3 B's, throb.
That's
more than 3, but.
I also wrote Ruby paint so freaking good, y'all.
So freaking
good. And a limo man with a woman's name buys the painting.
Dominique.
That's a woman's name. All right, fine. So he rolls up in a limo and is like, let me buy you paintings. So am I skipping a lot of your notes?
Yeah.
Okay, go. Talk.
I don't know. I'm just talking about Grandpa Jack. He traps muskrats
and
sells them. And Grandma won't tell Ruby what Grandpa did.
Yes, it is very secretive. They're married, but they live apart.
And Ruby's like, I don't have like biological parents. This is such a bummer that like I wish Grandma and Grandpa could like repair. They
could repair
their relationship so they had some semblance of like a normal family situation. And guess what color eyes Paul has? Cerulean blue. Cerulean blue.
Sorry
which,
that happened to you.
Is not a color of anyone's eyes. Send us a picture.
If you have cerulean blue eyes,
send us a picture.
I will send you $1.
I will send you $1 as well. You'll get $2, one for each eye. If you have cerulean blue eyes.
If you have one
filter.
Yeah. We can tell.
# no filter. So like Ruby and Paul did a little smoocher after she's like, oh, the baby spirit touched me in the face when it went away. And then Grandma was like, careful girl. Like she didn't see it, but she was like, careful, don't smooch that boy. And I'm just like, clearly something other than like wealth is going on. And then I noticed a mistake.
Oh, what? Oh, no.
Grandma was like, you know the tourists don't come riding by for a good while yet. And then 2 pages later, Grandma was right. We began to get customers much earlier than we usually did. That's not what she fucking said.
So is it one or the other?
Not what she fucking said. The shit drives me crazy. We all know at this point.
So there's a limo man.
There's a rando limo.
And Grandmere is very like, it's gonna go to Nolans, right? Nolans? Is it gonna go to Nolans? And is very fucking weird about it.
Buys all the paintings.
Yes.
And then Grandmere looks at him weird, and I was like, is this the mystery dad?
Like, yeah, it's very, yes. Also, that's what I was like.
Are you the mystery dad?
Like, she was very weird about it. Ice cream sodas get spoiled by a drunken grandparent.
Yeah, Paul's like, because Paul said, like, we're going to get some shaved ice tomorrow. I'm going to take you on a date. And then he was like, oh my God, you've sold all your paintings? We'll get ice cream sodas.
Damn.
Adorable. You're going to eat them. Is that how that works? Do you eat it down your gullet?
I do.
I would love an ice cream soda, actually.
I mean, not right now.
But they'd stay nice and chilly up here. Can you imagine?
Okay.
Anyways, Grandpa Jack gets kicked out of the Cajun Queen, which is a pub bar situation, for being belligerent.
He's a fucking.
He sucks.
Fucking drunk.
Yeah, he's so
and
drunk.
they have to like dinghy him back to his disgusting shack.
So gross. It's fucking filthy. Yeah, they have to like sail him home like with poles through the swamp.
Do they say a pirogue? Is that the boat?
Pirogue.
Pierogi?
Pirogue.
They ride on a pierogi, and they dinghy him back. Thank you. It's like a bit.
Little nibbles with mashed potato.
Mashed potato dumpling. They dinghy him back to his like disgusting shack, and he has like sleepy, drunken mystery mumblings that I don't think we fully get back to.
We do not get back. They don't make sense. He's like, whatever, they were in love.
Oh, I know what that means.
I don't. Well, like as far as no.
Mm-hmm. No spoilers. Anyway, so
not yet.
Then they do some.
Get spoiled when it's time.
There's like kissing and titty grazing, which gives Ruby the tingles.
She got the tingles.
Titty tingles.
Smoocher and a little boob cup.
There's also church gossip, which gives it a Castile vibe.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Did I like blow your mind with my?
You kind of did, yeah. Because I was just so excited to like have a different setting
after the shit bag that was White Fern.
No. Yes, but also like we've pretty much been in like Virginia.
Yeah. Now we
pretty much 100% Virginia, Boston, but like mostly
that zone.
In Virginia. Yeah. So like to go like
whatever zone that is when you plant things.
What?
When you plant things are divided into zones.
Are they?
Yeah. Huh. Look it up. Anyway.
Trenches?
So there's church gossip. And did you get to Paul's invited to Sunday supper?
I don't know. Oh, I really liked a quote that a thought Ruby had about like her grandparents. How could love or what you thought was love make you so blind to each other's weaknesses? I know. You hate that. That was really nice. Anyways.
Grandmere is very respected in the church, by the way. Everyone loves her because of her swamp healings, her swamp fingers. And even the church man.
Paul's trying to get swamp fingers on Ruby.
He is. So... murky. There's a moss. Dampy moss. A dampy moss.
These are teenagers, Kathleen.
So Ruby dresses herself for the Sunday supper, and here's what her dress is. It was white with a deep lace hem and a lace panel down the front. The sleeves were soft bells of lace that came to my elbows. I wore a blue sash around my waist. Quoth Grandmere, I'm glad I let out that bodice some. The way your bosom's blossoming.
Yeah, page 50, blossoming bosom. I got that.
So they're budding, they're blossoming, they're in various state of flowericiousness.
Grandmere also like made a comment like, quote, when your grandpa Jack was still something of a human being, which I thought was fucking shady and hilarious. It's so good. But yeah, because Paul invites Ruby to a fée dodo, which is a dance, and she's like, can I go? And Grandmare's like, I don't know. And she's like, well, can he come to dinner so you can like you have these like feelings about him. We haven't really spent time, and like I know you judge his family fair. They're rich snobs, but like he's cool.
Ruby's a little more even keeled or even tempered. Like she's not like a hysterical Kathy.
No. I don't think we've had anyone as hysterical as Kathy, have we? Like as a main character since.
I feel like maybe Heaven had a little. She would like kind of like.
Oh yeah, no. Heaven would just be like. I hate you that you're nice to me.
Dawn.
Flip a cabin.
All these Lincoln Logs askew.
I can picture that sound.
Ruby wonders if the Tates fear her corrupt Landry blood, which I noted because it goes to this nature-nurture discussion that is a thread running through it. So Ruby's upset about the Faye Dodo, and she says, girls far less pretty than me are going out. Well, ma'am. She's like, I'm too pretty to be home.
Yeah, pretty much. Paul doesn't show up for dinner, though.
That's right.
You are going way ahead of my notes this time.
Great, go.
So Ruby's waiting forever because Paul's like, I'll fucking be there. I don't care what my parents say. Turns out his parents are like, you're not going. And he's like, I am going. And they're like, no, you're not. So he had to like sneak out and he gets there later. And then like to say sorry. And he's like, and then Grandma's like, you can't go with him. Like, I feel like this is a bad thing. And then she like yells at her grandmother because she's like, you're treating me like a baby. And then she runs up and like falls in her bed and is like,
she babies it up.
Yeah, I thought it was great. She just flings herself crying onto her bed like, I can't believe you're treating me like a baby. I really enjoyed. So then Grandma's like, yeah, fine, okay.
Fucking okay, go.
I guess you guys can go together. I hope you don't find out anything. Hope nothing ever happens.
There's a dance fight.
Yeah, they dance a bunch. They're having a fantastic time. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. But then
Whomst starts the fight. This name. I can't.
Turner Brown, the bully, Turner Brown. Oh,
that is the most fecal
careful!
Name.
You better not Turner Brown.
That is the most fecal name.
Like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Turner Brown.
Wait, no, I'm gonna clip off a Turner Brown.
I'm gonna go to your toilet and Turner Brown.
Turner Brown.
I can't.
I'm
about. Can you lend me some pants? I'm about to Turner Brown.
Do you have any like Imodium? So that my insides are gonna turn to brown.
Because I'm about to turn
I'm
brown.
about to turn to brown.
Oh fuck! Because he talked shit at Ruby, being like, "Oh, you look great, but I bet you're a whore." And Paul was like,
"I bet you're a whore."
Basically, yeah. And then Paul was like, "Ah!" And that was pretty cool.
That was cool.
And like the, I don't know, the dance maestro, whoever was in charge, was like,
the DJ.
Turner Brown, get the hell out of here, you shit.
Turner Brown, get to town with your pants pulled down. I think he said that.
Yep. And then like they were gonna stay, and they're like, "No, let's get out of here." And she's like, "Your face is fucked. We should go see my grandmother before you go home. She's got poultices."
She has poultici, I think is how you say that.
Poultices.
Poultices.
And she do. She puts poultices on his injuries. And then he goes home, and Grandma's like, "All right,
it's time for us to have a swamp talk." A swamp talk.
And she was like, "Okay, clearly he cares about you. I tried to make it about something else, but
let's talk about
you're not an idiot.
Your mother. Ruby's sexy mom was tempted by the cup of sinful pleasures.
Who isn't?
It's so good.
So pleasurably sinful.
You don't want to know what's in here.
It's coffee, hot chocolate, and vanilla vodka.
Is that what his name was?
No, the tape.
You make a joke like that, I'm about to turn around.
So what happened was, Paul's father.
Hold on, wait. Okay,
what the fuck? What?
One more thing before that is that Gabrielle, her mother, turned up the pregnants, and quote, we don't go to shack butchers. I wrote shack butcher. Nice. We don't go to shack butchers,
which is probably a good thing. Sounds like you wouldn't want to go
there. And then grandpa beat the father's name out of her.
Ah, yes. And nice. It was Paul's dad who was married.
So praise be, incest is back.
Yay, but barely.
I mean, they're very tingled.
Yeah, they're tingled, but all there was like a delicate cup of a breast. That was it. They didn't like fucking get fingies and tingies. The fingies and dingies didn't happen.
They were gonna.
They were probably
They
eventually
still want
gonna.
to.
They do, but both of them are like fair. I mean,
no, they were not.
Yeah, I know.
Squeeze
So Gabrielle was another victim of secret Heidi pregos because they were like, all right, well, I guess we're just gonna pretend like Mrs. Tate is pregnant and hide you away, like.
Another trope, a secret pregnancy. Yeah, Paul doesn't know any of this, and I really kind of enjoy Grandmare's great swamp wisdoms. She was, thanks, man. She was like, it's not up to you to change his relationship with his mother or his father. Like, this isn't for you to tell him.
Yeah, like, I know that you want him to know, but, like, he might resent you for being the one who tells him. And if you care about him, you probably don't want that relationship to be ruined forever. It's going to change his whole family structure, and it's up to his family to do that. And I was like, okay, Grandma. So Grandma's starting to have an ale, by the way. We're introducing like an ale.
Yes, she's slowing down.
She's like, my chesticles.
Yes, she's not up as early.
But she's like, but I'm fucking fine. It's fine. Oh, it's fine. And Ruby's like, maybe a doctor. And she's like, I'm basically a doctor. It's fine.
Do you have the part where she has to like put Paul off and be like, oh,
yeah, I'm
don't
there.
hang up. Okay.
Yeah, so she's like, shit, I gotta put Paul off. And
good job.
Just be like, hey, so
I don't want to date anymore.
Yeah, we're too young. We should see other people. Like, my plans are to be an artist. Like, to be an artist, I feel like I should have a lot of more experiences, which actually, fair. And then he's like, immediately, like, is sad, but then, like, flips, and he's like, oh, it's because you want to be a whore, like your mother.
Paul's father regarding Ruby. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Sir, you're the tree fucker.
You're the fucking one who fucked the tree. Fuck the tree.
You fucked the fruit loose. Nope. Till the apples are flapping
around. The fruit is loose.
You fucked them fruits loose.
I'm just picturing someone in a very involved relationship with a fruit tree.
I was picturing it a little bit similar, but also the tree is a person in like a shitty cosplay.
Why does it have to be a shitty cosplay?
It's funnier.
Oh, okay. Right. If it was nicely done, we don't want to make fun.
No,
yeah, because that's
art. Just their choice.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, he's pissed and he's like basically calls her a whore and then runs away crying.
Ruby's sad and it's hot out. That's pretty much it.
But then she gets a check in the mail for $250 because one of her paintings sold at the gallery, and that is so exciting.
Oh, hang on, you're a little ahead of me. Spider wedding sounds like my nightmares.
Oh, I love.
There's like some like fable about spider weddings. I don't want to go into it.
She's like, hold on, you didn't let me tell you about this.
I want to talk about.
Never mind, I don't want to talk about it.
But I hate it. It's a weird thing that is noted, but I don't like it.
I love it. So there's like, there's a whole fable about like
fable. That's what I was.
Someone's like had a beautiful wedding in the bayou, and like these spiders like wove all these webs, and like it was like silvery gold and like the dewdrops, and I thought that sounded nice.
There's an extended like multi-page about like how hot it is in Ruby Sad.
Is there?
Yeah.
I must have skimmed right the fuck over that. I don't
Jesus
care.
God. Ruby eventually goes to see Grandpere, and he is naked with a bullwhip. He's like running around his shack naked with a bullwhip. Ruby does mostly sad paintings. Grandmere is getting old and tired. I said, I can't believe Ruby suggested a doctor to Grandmere. Can't believe it. Because she's basically a swamp doctor. And then I wrote lacy creamy envelope. And that is where we are. We're at the lacy creamy envelope. Oh my God.
So they use some
I'm going to put my swamp fingers in your lacy creamy envelope. Yep. Okay. All right. Here we are. Here we go. I'm going to put my swamp fingers.
Stop it! Stop it!
There's debris.
Dear listener and dear viewer, do not want to hear this shit. God damn, Kathleen. They used some of the money that Ruby got in.
Okay, all right, it's out.
Some of the money that Ruby got from her check to make like a really fancy shrimp gumbo and a cake.
A gumbo, yeah.
It was like a shrimp gumbo. Fuck yeah. And they invite two of Grandmare's pals over to celebrate. And then at the end of it, Grandmare's like, yeah, go put the extra money in my dresser. Which apparently, like, this dresser is just like nobody fucking touches it.
It's
like,
her things of value.
And it's like it's noted that even Grandpère Jack like would never fuck with this dresser. Like,
it's Grandmare's stuff she thinks she gets for her services, things she can trade for others. It's like a barter kind of, but also things from her life.
And this is like an antique dresser that's
high
like
boy,
like
armoire.
No, but it was like, it's an heirloom.
There we go.
So she goes in there and she's like, oh my God, let me just, and she's like sad because she's like, holy shit, there's like, last time I looked in here, there was so many things. Like, there's hardly anything left. I'm so sad now.
It's hard times.
What is this creamy envelope? What's in there?
Young grandpa. Photos. Photos. Well, first of all, I said young grandpa had broad shoulders, of course.
Of course. Broad shoulders, narrow waist.
And then I said it's a photo mystery. Who is Pierre?
Pierre.
So there's a photo of a 7-year-old who looks exactly like Ruby. And there's like a note in the back that's like, Gabrielle, she's doing great. Here you go. Love, Pierre. I also wrote, there's too many revelations too close together. Now, listen. We have previously noted that books are like a freight train. This book is a freight train if all those trains are full of methamphetamine.
It's a roller coaster.
Because you think like, okay, this is the arc of the book. And then it's like, oh, okay, something else is happening.
There are a lot of things happening.
And then it's like, okay, well, this is like the, okay, we got another thing.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it felt less, like it felt more, like less discombobulated than some of the other freight trains, I thought. Like,
as much as we're talking about the swamp, it's only the beginning of the book.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, just coming off the heels of White Fern, too, where it was like... it was cool to go back to, like, fucking content. And there really were enough storylines to do the entire 5-book across the board.
In one book.
But, like, I don't know. It's crazy because I don't feel like anything was terribly rushed.
No!
Yeah, it was... this was a nice change.
It was.
Nice.
Gators respected Gabrielle. That's how I'm going to summarize her mom, Gabrielle.
Yeah, so
she
Ruby was
swamp
like...
Princess Fairy.
Yeah, like, listen, grand-mère, I found this shit. Tell me what the fuck is up. Like, stop putting me off. Like, you keep saying later. It's later. Like, I'm clearly old enough to know about this. What is this? What is this?
Is this me? This isn't me, but it looks like me. Yes. Tell me everything.
And then she does.
Mysterious, like, swamp princess.
She is, yeah. She was like a swamp fairy queen.
Wealthy Pierre was taken with wild Gabrielle. She was wild.
He was married.
Slutty.
She wasn't slutty.
She was
free.
She was free with her vagina system. The whole system. She was a systems analyst. And she had Paul Tate. And then she also did a fuckins on others as well. Which of the time? 1962. 3?
1962 right now.
Great. But back in the time before that.
In the 50s.
In the 50s.
No, the 40s. Right, because she died in 47.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
So in the 40s.
Yes. It was the post-war and...
That's when baby boomers happened. Everyone was fucking.
Boomed out so many fuckins.
Anyways, so since like this whole thing with Paul happened, Grandpa Jack is like actually kind of psyched that Gabrielle's pregnant again because he's like, I can make some fucking money. And
classic fake pregnancy.
Yeah, another one. So he arranged with Pierre's father to buy the baby for $15,000, which I'm pretty sure is a fuck ton of money in 1946.
Right. If anyone has like a inflation calculator that wants to run that for these dollars.
We could have done this, but we didn't. So email us at visaspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. Grandpa goes up to Gabrielle and is like, well, all parties have agreed. Except for like her,
because she was like so excited to like raise this baby in the bayou. She's like, I want this baby to love nature. Princess. Yeah, like I want this baby to love nature and like appreciate the simple things and blah, 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 blah. And Pierre is like, cool, yeah, you should do that. Like, sorry I knocked you up. I think you're great. Like I'll help you raise this. Yeah, you're amazing. But meanwhile, his wife couldn't get pregnant, and I guess like Pierre's mother and father like were like ailing and dying, and it was like really sad for them. They weren't gonna have like an heir coming out of the family. Blah, 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 blah. So Grandpa's like, we're just gonna do this. And
I was definitely shooketh for a little bit after. He's like, well, everyone agreed. Everyone. So this is what's happening. But like, the one party who needs to agree.
The one being like, that's how you give birth.
So the pregnancies happen pregnancy singular happens, and she goes to give a birthins, and one comes out.
They like immediately scuttle this like 1 second old baby out to a waiting limo.
And Grandmare's like, oh, there's another one in there.
Grandmare apparently knew by the way that
I was gonna say, did she know?
Yeah, she said she knew by the way she was carrying that it was gonna be 2 babies.
She used her swamp brain.
She used her swamp shaman realness.
Swamp shaman realness.
To deduce that they were due.
To deduce the deuce.
To turn her
I
brown.
have to go deduce the deuce and turn her brown.
And then so they're just like, here's this disgusting baby full of goo. It just came out of a swamp lady's vagina.
Yep.
Spirited away now to Nolans.
So it scuttles away, and then Grandmare like silently delivers the other one.
Yeah, like Grandpa Jack comes in after 1 second and is like, oh shit, I could have made another $15,000.
Frying pan, bong. Frying pan.
Yeah, she did. She's like, fuck off, boink.
And then he's like,
pretty cool. Yeah. Like no one knew there were 2. Like Pierre did not know. The family didn't know. They basically just like lost touch, except for though, because Gabrielle ended up like, you know, she was very heartbroken that the baby was gone. Heartbroken.
Not that she gave birth like in a shack, but that her heart was broken.
Her heart was broken. Her heart and the
her
medical
vagina.
treatment.
Her heart and her vagina were broken. And there's no...
So apparently she told her mother in French, like, my beautiful mother, and then she died.
Okay. Look at how much I did not note that. But I did write this as a fantastic, mysterious, dramatic tragedy.
Yeah, sure was.
Grandmare, I have... The next thing I have is Grandmare is like, you know, if anything happens to me... No fucking reason. If anything happens.
If anything should happen in the next chapter or 2.
Just no reason.
This guy, Raoul Balzac, comes calling on Grandma. He's like, my son's fevery. Help!
Yes, it's a big old healings and it leaves her very weak.
Well, there's like a Haley thunderstorm situation. Yes. So like Ruby's freaking out because there's a big Haley thunderstorm situation. And like she was talking, a lot of things in these books talk about like storms and like foreboding weather.
They
and
align
like,
with the weather.
Yes. So Ruby's like stressed out because also, you know, Grandmare's been slowing way down at this point and been like, I'm fine. And she's like, you ain't fine. And so like when she didn't come back, I was like, ugh. So they Balzac. He's just like rumbles back up with Grandma just like laying in the back of the truck.
It's like he wanted to lay down. She wanted to lay down.
She was like, she's tired. She's exhausted.
So it's a big old healings.
Kind of a la Green Mile.
I've never seen Green Mile.
I read the books.
Okay, great. We're on the same not page.
Healing makes you cough up fruit flies and then you're very tired.
Okay. Grandmare was like, please get the priest so I can make peace, but no reason.
No, so just in case. Just go get him. And so
please immediately get the priest.
So like Ruby books it to the priest and he's like out having lunch or some shit. I don't know what he's doing.
I do wish to say it's a less hysterical death than usual.
Yeah. Well, when she gets back, Grandmare's just like dead in the rocking chair.
But a little bit prior to that, I feel like Ruby was like, no, it's fine. And she was like, no, it's just, she's like, just if anything happens. She's like, Grandmare, don't say that. And she's like, I just need to tell you that things. And she's like, I'm not going to be here forever. And this is what you need to do. And she was like, no, it's fine. She's like, no, I'm not going to be here forever. And she's like, all right. And Ruby's like, okay, you know what? You're right. You're right. And this is just happening. So it do happen. Dead in a rocking chair.
But she's got a little smile on her face.
There's a wake. Are you at the wake?
Yeah, like 1 million people come to the wake and the funeral.
And Grandpa kicks everyone out.
Yep. He just like...
Get the fuck out of here.
He's like, well... He promises to get his shit together. Because she finds him and he's like, oh no. And like... He's like cool during... I think the wake part or...
Yeah, Ruby like scrubs him. It's noted she finds all the lice. Grandpa's swamp cronies roll in after he kicks everyone out. And Grandpa passes out from grief.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm just really fucking tired.
I was really tired for some reason. Alcohol. He's got lice.
It's really gross. Yeah, he promised to get each other, but besides like bathing like once, he doesn't really change. Like, she was like, oh my God, he's like wearing a shirt and it's clean and it looks like he's sad. But then he just keeps getting drunk on like super cheap whiskey.
I screenshotted this to share because I gave it an eyebrow. So,
please share.
What was more important now, I questioned, that there be truth between Paul and me, truth between two people who care for each other with such a rare love, a love that demanded honesty, or that I maintain a lie that Paul kept from knowing the sins of his father. What? There's just like, my one love, ever for love. You're 15. Ever
That's
love.
why that tracks.
I mean, it do
That's
track.
why it tracks.
So she does tell him, but Paul do not believe.
Well, it was like it was day 2 of the wake. She goes out for a walk because she's like super overwhelmed by like greeting people and grieving, and grandparent Jack just being like super unpredictable. And then like she almost passes out, and Paul catches. He's like, "Oh, I almost fell down. What's going on?" And then they're just kind of talk about like, well, like, I know you're upset, and so like you're kind of shitty though. And he was like, yeah, I was super upset, and I was kind of shitty. Like, I'm dating this girl, and like, yeah, it was to make you jealous, and like I didn't want to not talk to you. I didn't know how to process my feelings, which I thought was a really cool conversation. Right. And then Ruby just spills the tea. She's like, we have the same mom. Mm-hmm. She's like, the day my mom died, your mom died. And he was like, my mom. We had the same mom, but was it? Oh, and he was like, no. There must be some mistake. Like someone lied to you. Like, no. I'm gonna talk to my dad.
Grandpa acts a whiskey fool.
I love this. Also. Ruby says, promise me that you won't find out. Promise me that when. Hold on. Ruby says, promise me that when you find out the truth. And Paul cuts her off and says, I won't find out the lie.
17.
I won't find out. So he will find out the truth.
It's a little Philip style. He's like, no, we're not siblings. I want to fuck you so hard. So anyway, grandpa acts a whiskey fool, clears the funeral, and then tears up the place. He's like, she's got to stash her money. I need the money.
Yeah. And she's like, there's no money. And he was like, where are you hiding it?
Her armoire's empty.
She's like, no, seriously, we're struggling. I came by one time and you were fucking passed out. I'm the one who covered you up so you weren't getting like eaten by swamp flies. And like there's a week later, Ruby's waiting for Paul because he's going on this fishing trip. Hold up.
Ruby actually thinks through going to New Orleans, unlike other protagonists. Like Kathy would have been like, ah! But like Ruby's like, what if I just like, what if I turn into a prostitute? Or something like that. She's like, what if I can't do anything? Like, I was like, oh, she's actually thinking it through.
Yeah.
A lot of those sort of protagonists have been very reactionary.
Yeah.
But she was like, I don't know what I should do. Should I try to leave here? Should I try to stick it out?
Like, grandma wanted me to do this, but like, life's a lot different than like
promises.
Like I've never been there. She's never been there. Mm-hmm. Like, could be crazy.
Grandpa gets gross again. Like, he's like, I'm done bathing.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, well, that one bath was nice. He just gets all gross up again. Paul just fucking waltzes into Ruby's room.
Yeah, so like a week later, she's waiting for Paul to show up because Paul's like, I'm going on this fishing trip with my dad. We'll be alone. This is when I'll bring it up. Like, I couldn't really bring it up around my mom. Like, it's been awkward. And, but then she gets tired and goes to bed. And then, like, he just comes walking into the room.
Sibling tingles.
Doing like a Christopher Phillips sort of monologue at
her. Paul, he says, I'm paraphrasing, if we practice incest, it'll get easier.
But like Ruby's like maybe kind of into it. She's
keeps sliding. She's like slipping and sliding. She keeps being like, I'm sliding and sliding away. And where are you sliding to?
Down the
She's
snail
like
trail.
On a slip and slide.
Down the snail trail in Tintin. Yep, that's the song.
Okay.
That's a very
slipping into
very
her brother's
famous
penis.
song from.
She's slipping into her brother's penis. Yep.
She's sounding.
Yep. Slip and slide, LOL. He later's like, Paul's like, this is my land. It's oil land. And he does a Philip turn. He's like, this will be our house and we will adopt it. No one will know.
Yeah, and he's like, we'll be rich. Who gives a shit? They won't talk about us if we're rich. I know, a little bit. But like after like Grandpa actually busts in the room while Paul's in there.
He's like,
get the fuck out of here. And then he was like, oh,
I guess you want to do fuckings, huh?
You're grown. We should probably find you a husband. And she's like, Would
you like to read about Buster Trejo? Here you go.
Well, I will say, what I really like, because like Paul skipped school. And so Ruby's like freaking out that like he went home and like something happened between his parents. But then he like comes like riding up in a speedboat and he's just like, hey, come check out my land. And she's like, all right, but don't fucking touch me though, because I don't.
Yeah.
And he totally
we are fucking siblings.
He totally respects her personal space. He like helps her in the boat, and that's about like I really liked that.
It is, but
it's just a change. I know he's got a plan, but he also wasn't like
monologue.
I know, but he wasn't like it'll be okay. Calm down, ding, ding, ding. Like no, it was not like that. He was just like, okay, here's my plan, and she was like, all right, I'll think about it, but it's kind of fucked up. So she gets home, and he's got
Buster Trejo.
Oh, he's got this disgusting man named Buster Trejo.
Read it. No. Here you go. Do it.
Oh, mid-30s. I didn't skim by that. Buster Trejo. Trejo was a man in his mid-30s, tall and stout, with a circle of fat around his stomach and sides that made it look as if he wore an inner tube under his shirt.
He fat.
All of the features of his plain face were distorted by the bloat. The bloat. He had a thick nose with wide nostrils, heavy jowls, a round chin, and a soft mouth with thick purple lips. His forehead protruded over his cavernous dark eyes, and his large earlobes leaned away from his head so that from behind he looked like a big bat. Right now, his dull brown hair was matted down with sweat,
dull brown,
the strands sticking to the top of his forehead. As soon as I stepped into the room, his smile widened, showing a mouthful of large teeth. Pieces of crawfish were visible between the gaps, and his thick pink tongue was covered with the meat as well. He brought the neck of a beer bottle to his lips and drew on it so hard his cheeks folded in and out like the bellows of an accordion.
I mean, who's dry and who's damp?
I'm dead inside.
I mean, you know, that is...
I am like, I'm a human dry heave right now.
That's someone's something, but not for us.
Look, I don't want to yuck your yum if that's your thing.
We don't kink shame.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. Yeah, okay.
Could be
someone's type, that's okay.
Buster Trejo, mouthful of crawfish.
It's disgusting. And grandparents just like, Ruby is making this dinner. She's really good at stuff. And Ruby's like, what the fuck's going on here? And he's just like,
is there any food for our gumbo? And he's like, bah!
And the grandparents like, well, you know this. And she's like, I'm not going to, what? You want me to, I'm not going to go with this guy. And he's just like, Jack, you said it.
I got to break him. She's wild. I got to break her.
And so she like goes up to her room. She's like, I'm fucking outie right now. But she hears that Buster offers to grandparent. He accepts $1,000 for him to test out the goods.
He pimped her out. He pimped out Ruby. And OMG.
So then she's like, all right, fuck this. I guess New Orleans is like, at least if I end up a prostitute, I'll know that that's what happened. Like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And
she packs a little bag, but grandpa's like...
He busts in, and he's like, you were so embarrassing to me. And then he's like, oh, you got a bag?
I'm going to chain her to the bed.
He chains her to the bed.
But dumbly.
Which was so stressful for like a hot minute. Oh my God.
It is for a hot minute.
Oh my God.
But I guess
he was too drunk to do it right.
She could just like lift the bed and slide the bike
lock so like he wrapped the chain around her ankle and then like locked it to the bed leg. So she was able to lift up the leg of the bed and slide out and then undo her leg. And she just like sneaks the fuck away. It was really sad though. Like she had done this beautiful portrait of grandmother on the porch, and like she said bye to the portrait. She was like, I'll be back for you. I can't take you now. I thought that was super sad.
So she goes on the bus and has a beautiful and friendly bus mate,
Annie Gray. She gives her almost immediately a piece of black cat spine for luck.
She's a voodoo wannabe singer who loves New Orleans.
Yep. And then she kind of scams a tenner out of her.
I love it. She was like, oh my God, Pierre Dumont. There's going to be so many. What we have to do like an offering. So you give me $10 and
I'll drop it out of the church.
Yep. And I'll find the right one. And she like, like this one. Goodbye. And then Ruby's like, oh, there's fucking one.
But then she was like, all right, I paid $10 for entertainment.
Yeah.
Like she was like, fair. Like Anna Gray was pretty cool. Like Ruby got to tell her why she left her grandfather and stuff. Like it was fine. And then she was like, I don't know, I probably should have known better. That's okay.
She runs into a piss dank alley roper.
Oh my God.
I'm sure surprising no one that she shows up on the night of
Mardi Gras.
Yep.
And then like some guy in a mask is like, hey, come with us. I know where that
blonde
is.
cerulean blue-eyed tuxedo man comes upon
with
her,
a mask.
To whom Ruby tells a surprising amount of information.
She's like, you seem trustworthy.
She's like, I just have been put up for my sister was adoption. I'm here. I'm here at this Diamond Rich mansion.
And he was like, oh, let's cut down this alley. And she's like, I don't know if we should do that. And then he totally tries to assault her, yelling, it's party time.
He thinks it's her sister.
No.
Okay.
The
so
reveler.
We're back to the dank alley.
Yeah.
Okay, I was talking about Boo.
No, and then some revelers like happen to be like parading, like, yeah, this seems like a great dank alley for us to parade down. And so she like ends up like right in front of a cop, and she's like, how do I get to this address? And he was like, oh, hop the streetcar.
Yep.
And then she's like, whew. And then
she meets Bo, the blonde cerulean-eyed
tuxedo man. Yep. With cerulean eyes. And he's just like, Giselle,
look at this fucked up outfit you're wearing.
Your costume is just too much right now. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, why is she an idiot? Like,
how is she so confused?
How does she not put it together?
The only one
she's going there to meet her twin sister.
She's the only one who knows there's a twin, and she's like, what do you mean?
Who does he think I am? That's so stupid.
But so Bo comes up to her and he's like, hey, and she's like, I don't know why I'm here. I was separated at birth from my twin sister. I'm from the bayou, and my daddy doesn't know me. Like, she just tells him everything.
Yeah. And he's like, whoa, okay.
Thank you, helpful stranger.
He just like looks at her and he's like, oh yeah, you don't look like a bitch.
Oh, wow. So it's a Diamond Rich mansion. So again, we go from dirt poor to Diamond Rich.
Yep.
They go, he's like, I know Daphne and Pierre. He's like, I'm buds with Daphne and Pierre.
Yeah, he's like, I'll go find, they're at a party, I'll go get them. Like,
and then
they'll totally want to meet you. Just go in and chill.
She hangs out with Nina, the voodoo maid, which is a little...
Who's just like, oh, you're a ghost or something.
Yep. And I think he brings Giselle down.
Yeah, and Giselle's like, she's like, what kind of fucking bullshit is this?
She was like, you're trying to like scam us for money. And what I think is great, they're like, she's like, what, these clothes, wearing these clothes, and she's like, what the fuck is wrong with what I'm wearing?
He's like, what is wrong with my clothes? And she's like, how do you think I'd wear that? And she's like, all right, I'm done. Like, what? Yeah, Giselle is a fucking bratty asshole, and Bo is nice. He's like, chill, and he like kind of like side eyes Giselle, and is like, oh, this fucking idiot bitch. Pierre, when he comes in, is like stoked. Like, he's just like, oh my god, I have 2 daughters. Like,
he's like a tall daddy.
This is slim. Amazing, tall slim daddy. And his wife Daphne is like,
oh, a trifle of a problem. You know, like those fake pregnancies definitely come back and bite you, huh? Yeah. But what will the people think?
What will the people think? And he was like, you know, okay, we're just gonna say that like we never told anyone that you had twins and one of the babies was stolen.
People believe that voodoo practitioners steal babies. Let's perpetuate this with like a
absolutely
fucking horrible story.
Totally, yeah.
You know that old maid cook we have that was like a very voodoo lady, and she's like, so we're gonna say it was her. She did all this and
scuttled her off to the bayou.
Let's do that. Daphne says more than once that Ruby is so unschooled.
I know. She just like assumes that she's like this, like very, like very loose idiot from the bayou.
You're a loose idiot.
Yeah, that's you are a loose idiot. To be fair though, they were like, that maid is gone and like she's passed away, so nothing can come back on her. Like, yes, don't do it. But also, at least they were like, no one. Anyways.
They literally said, well, you know how people like believe these old stories? Like, what if
that's not cool? But at least they were like not involving anyone still alive.
No one can go to jail for this.
Yes, which is different than some of the other situations we've been in.
Right away, Pierre's like, you guys should have adjoining bedrooms. Too soon.
He was like, oh my god. He's like, you guys, I'm gonna put you right next to Giselle's room. Yeah. Like, they have like, so when you're ready, you guys can open the doors. It'll be so cute. And Ruby's new room is fucking dank. Like, she's just like, oh, he's like, I'll just leave you to get settled. And she's like, this is like 18 times the size of my shack.
Really Pierre's very nice and welcoming. I was like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, with him. And
he's like waiting. They have like breakfast together. And he was like, let me drive you around Nolan's. Because it was the day after Mardi Gras. Yeah. Everyone's still sleeping. But like,
Giselle comes home when Ruby like goes down to breakfast because they tell her like, you'll probably be up before everybody else, so like totally go downstairs, ask what you want for breakfast, like be cool. And Giselle's coming home, and she's like just an asshole, and she's like, "You better not tell him I'm coming home right now, and you trying to get me in trouble." And she's like, "I don't want to get you in trouble. I just excited to have family." It was so sad. But he's like, "Let's go to the French Quarter. Like, I'm gonna show you around New Orleans. Like, you haven't seen it before. I'm so excited." Like,
yes,
so sweet,
very nice.
And he tells her about
tragic Jean, Uncle Jean,
and like and also like what led up, like that whole relationship with his brother.
I was flashing if anyone has seen the parody of that what do you call it? That movie, the Johnny Cash biopic,
Walk the Line.
Walk the Line. The parody, Walk Hard. It was very much the wrong kid died vibe that I was getting, because Uncle Jean was like the most perfect and athletic and everything, and Pierre was not. So Uncle Jean had an accident, and all I could think was the wrong kid died. Anyway, they tried a bit for the science, because he was like, Daphne couldn't produce the hormones for pregnancy. They tried hard, but like it's still very vague because there was a man writing this.
Yeah. And plus, this is 1962.
Fair.
Yeah. So like, what the fuck did we know about fertility then? Not a lot.
47.
So it's just cute. They like go out for lunch, and he's like, but on the drive there, he's just like, this was happening. And then like, I was super depressed. My father was depressed. And we ended up like going to the bayou. And like the first time I saw your mother, it was like, she was the most beautiful person I'd ever seen. Like
Swamp
there was
princess.
there was the bird that landed on her shoulder, and she was like, hey, tweet, like very, very Snow White.
She was like a swamp white.
She was a swamp white.
Anyway. Okay.
And then he's like, and then she like mentions like, he's talking about art gallery. He's like, oh, you've ever
Hold on, wait. So before that, that's my next note. Before that is, I said, apparently Gabrielle gave approval to the scheme after talking to Daphne. And then this is ripe for some other secret dropping.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know it yet.
No, we don't know
But like,
yet.
and I don't know if that will ever get circled back to, but like, why?
Maybe she was just like, listen.
Pierre knows nothing about their talk. He makes a specific mention. He's like, I don't know what they talked about.
I don't know what they talked about. I just know that she agreed afterwards.
So they go to an art gallery.
Yeah, so they're eating lunch, and she's like, I think he's talking about galleries, and she's like, oh, have you ever heard of Dominique's? And he was like, yeah, why have you heard of it? And she's like, oh, I got some paintings there. He's like, fucking what? And they immediately go there, and he's like, that one, buying it now, let's go. He's like so proud.
Why does it say Ruby Landry, right? Dumas. I want my family to claim your talent.
I thought that was fucked.
That was a little fucked.
A little fucked.
I'm immediately like, any person you were before, gone, done. Yeah. Now you're here. Me, I want.
And then Daphne's like, you know what? You won't be so shitty if I just make you look rich like the rest of us. So
shopping spree.
Like the same goddamn day. Like this all happens in a day. This is the same day. So she like drags her to 1,000 department stores.
They get home and she sits with Daphne, and Daphne's like, Pierre suffers from bouts of melancholia, but all day he's been manic and frenetic. And she was like, oh yeah, the boating accident.
She's like, what does that mean?
And she's like, whatever. Fashions are very important to Daphne.
Oh, 100%.
Fucking Ruby gets bobby pins. She was like, and bobby pins I got. Yeah. I just noted that because that's fucking ridiculous. So they're talking about love, and Daphne's like, love is cash money, bitch. And I was like, okay, girl. She's like in like her like top down like Pretty Woman, like how she's like, this is love. Love is cash money.
Giselle comes up to her and she's like, sorry I was a bent. You know, it'll be super fun because we're sisters. Let's pretend that we're each other. So like tonight when...
Hold on, man.
No.
Yeah, Giselle presumes Cajun girls they give sexual intercourse on the reg. Yeah. And she's very jealous of Ruby's clothes. She's like, I'll borrow these panties.
Yeah.
Nope. First thing she wants to do is the old switcheroo.
Immediately. And they do it at dinner, and like Pierre immediately is like
delighted. Yes, he's like,
oh, you guys, you switched spots. And then Daphne's like, no, don't ever fucking do that.
Happiness.
Yeah, Daphne, chill, bitch.
So then she's like, well, the boys are coming. My boyfriend Beau is coming over with his friend Martin, and let's just keep doing the switcheroo.
Yeah. And then like Giselle's like really pretending to be Ruby with this like really horrible accent. She's like, I'm just a stupid Cajun girl.
I do intercourse
from the swamp. I know how to twirl my vagina around any dick. And then she's like, let's go off and do a smoochins. And like Beau knows.
He's like,
He like immediately knows that like they're doing a switchy.
Is this like a purity test for the men who can tell them apart immediately?
I think he just knows, and he's like kind of sick of Giselle's shit at this point. But then he like goes and does a smoocher on Ruby, and she's like, hey, I'm not your girlfriend. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And he's like, okay, yeah, I knew. Don't fucking do that.
Don't do that. That's not enthusiastic consent.
That is not enthusiastic. That's not consent.
It's like he does a sneaky titty grab.
Yeah.
And like get even smoocher. Ruby hears sobbing, and Daphne is annoyed by it. Like that whole event.
It was really a lot. Like, also they're drinking. What are they drinking? Like vodka, rum and coke. They're drinking rum and cokes, and Giselle's just fucking like knocking them back. She goes off to make out with Martin as Ruby, and then is like, "What the fuck's going on over here?" Because they're like in the. Her and Ruby and Beau end up in the pool house for some reason, and they're in the dark. They would do another smoocher. And it's like a tingle smoocher, and she's like, "Ooh, I kind of like this."
Yes.
And then Giselle's like, "Get out!" He's like, "What do you mean that you are not Ruby?"
Or Giselle.
Yeah, no, like when she opens the door. Yeah, and then so Giselle and Beau are in the pool house for like a second, and then Giselle comes out barfing her brains out, and then Ruby just like, "You go to bed," and then she hears the sobs.
Yeah, so she hears sobbing, and Daphne's like, "What the fuck ever."
And find out it was Pierre.
Yeah, Pierre apparently looking like American Psycho. I don't know.
Just like going.
I envision him looking like Christian Bale in American Psycho. Anyway.
But he goes into Pierre's old room and does a cry, kind of on the reg. Right. Pierre goes into Jean's old room and does a cry on the reg.
Ruby drowns in her emotions. Nina has a very voodoo bedroom.
We find out from Giselle that Jean isn't dead. He's just like a zombie boy at a institution.
Let's see. It's shocking. We have another sucky sister. Is this due to the patriarchy? Jean's not dead. Stunner.
Jean.
Giselle totally sets up Ruby to take the fall for the booze.
Oh, yeah.
She like hides the rum bottle in Ruby's room. Asshole.
And then she doesn't come down to breakfast, and then she ends up telling Daphne like, "Ruby made me drink. It's all that Cajun stuff. I told her I didn't want to, but I wanted to bond." And then she was like, "Oh, they'll forget that they're mad at you."
So, side plot to this is that there's an art teacher coming to do the art teaching. She has a big old art studio. I noted that Ruby has to promise to fully accept the art teachings, because I was waiting for a nefarious shoe to drop, but none does. So that's how the notes go. Like, you think something's going to happen, but then, no. Because he was like, "I'll take you on as my student, but you must fully promise to do my learnings."
And we're like, great.
You're like, "Oh, what kind of like fucking teacher diddles is going to happen?" None? Nope. Great. And then the evening jaunt with like the boys, like Giselle and the boy. I can't.
Giselle like decides she likes Martin, and she's like, "Oh, Ruby, you can have Beau. I don't care." And then like she's kind of an asshole, She's an asshole to her at school, and her friends are an asshole. Yeah. And then she's like, "You know what?
Let's go hang. I'll show you my Nolans."
You should. You know what? Oh yeah, that part too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm here for it. Because here's what it is. They go to a sex shop just to shock her. Because there's fucking dildos everywhere.
And she's like,
"Okay, no thanks.
No, thank you."
Martin goes to speak to a man in a leather vest and tattoos to get something for later. I think he's shirtless and has like 90s trope of drug dealer like tattooed across his whole body. He's a bald, shirtless man in a leather vest.
Yeah. And he's like, "Sell him 4 joints."
Okay, yeah.
Here's the joints.
And then they go, "Here are the joints." They go to Storyville.
Here are the marijuana cigarettes, young children.
They go to Storyville, and fucking Voodoo Annie's at the brothel.
Yeah, Annie Gray's like, "Come out."
Like,
She's like, "Hey, what up, girl? What up, Ruby? You find your dad and your sister?" And Ruby's like, "Oh my God." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm just working for I'm still gonna sing. I'll reach out to you later, girl."
I'm gonna go fuck someone for money.
And then all her friends like, "Oh my God, you know prostitute?" Like, "Well, I didn't know she wasn't a prostitute when I met her. Like, I met her on the bus, and I don't really know her." And they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're best friends with a prostitute." And she's like, I'm not. I just like met her on the bus for 2 hours." And they're like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know that you're like best friends with a prostitute. That's amazing. What's that like?" And she's like, "I don't fucking know, but that's like..."
Joints in all caps. They go do some joints. They have 1 joint cigarette each.
Yeah, which is a lot. I think that's a lot.
Ruby has a freak out crying jag. And then they all get thrown, like, throw them away, throw everything away.
She was like laughing and she's like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then like she's sobbing and then she thinks that's funny. So she just starts laughing again. It's very like marijuana kills. Like, very like.
It was a trip.
Yeah. It was very, what is that called though? The like reefer, it was very reefer madness sort of moment.
And then we got to go to school, and she meets Dr. Storm at the school, who's got dull brown eyes. Mm-hmm. I wanted to notate that. The teachers are surprised that Ruby's not an idiot.
They sure are.
They're like, wow, you know how to read.
They're like, oh my God. Because she's like, they're like, okay, we'll go slow for you. I know you guys were supposed to do this summer reading, but I bet no one did. And she was like, oh, I did this. And they're like, oh yeah, what's the plot? And she's like, this. And they're like, oh my God.
You read a book.
You guys.
Giselle's mad at Ruby because Giselle doesn't do her schoolwork.
Does not do her homework at all. So yeah, that's Ruby's fault, clearly.
Bo is using Ruby to make Giselle mad, blah, blah, blah.
But also, Ruby's kind of like helping Giselle with her homework. They're studying together, and then like Giselle's grades get better and stuff like that.
Yes, I did.
Which I thought was really nice. But
I did not notate that, but yes, that did happen.
I didn't notate it either, but I just remembered. But Giselle's just like, it's mostly she's doing better in school because she's mad that Ruby's smarter than her. So there's like someone to hold her accountable, and she can't just tell her parents like, the teachers aren't being fair. Like, they're like, well, everyone she's clearly an idiot because she came from the swamp. Not you. She's clearly an idiot because she came from the swamp. So like, what's your excuse?
Let's see. I noted again a little trope. Ruby has tears burning behind her eyes and references her secret put away heart.
Yep. Tiny fists too. Grinding out the sleep with grinding eyes was tiny fists. Why are we doing pony?
Because you grind.
Oh! Hey! Branded my eyeballs.
Tiny fist in my tear ducts.
Oh baby, you come over later and fist my tear ducts.
Not to kink shame. It's the only
not yucking your yum.
The only way that I can get my swamp damp. There's a very...
I need a misty Spanish moth, you know what I mean?
There's a very sus apology from Giselle. Mm-hmm. And she's like, come to my slumber party.
You should come to the slumber party. Like, I'm so sorry. We should be friends. You're right.
There are fucking, I'm going to say it, surprise nude pics. Yeah. So I tell what happens and then you do the soda.
So
what the fuck?
Their friends are like, oh my God, yeah, we'll all dress up in
do this crazy game.
Grandmother's
We all wear old tiny clothes. It's so fun.
From the 10s. Here, put this on. And like
everyone goes to a separate room and change it out.
And then we just like laugh at each other, which actually sounds so
That sounds
fun.
precious.
It
sounds precious, but very much not these gals' vibe.
Yeah, of course not. So they give Ruby like this old timey bathing suit, you know, like the shorts and the whole like
pantaloons,
kind of like the strongman situation. And she's in there, and like someone comes in. They're like, one of the friends is like, "What's taking you so long?" And she was like, "Oh, this is so silly. Like this is not gonna fit." And she was like, "That's me fine." "Oh my God, you can't wear your bra and underwear in a bathing suit. Take those off." And she was like, "I guess you're right." And like as she's taking them off, she hears like there's like boys busting forth through the closet, snapping pics of her being like, "Ah!" Like, yeah, that's what happens. And she runs home crying, and she's upset.
I mean, it's upsetting.
Of course.
It's upsetting.
And I think she doesn't even tell, like I think Daphne's like, "Why aren't you there?" And she was like,
Daphne's very fucking high strung.
Yeah, and she was like, I didn't feel good. And she was like, "Is it because you were drinking?" And she was like, "No, period cramps."
It's my period. In the midst of all this, I noted Uncle Jean had narrow hips. I don't know when it came out, but I just wanted to notate that.
Sure.
Whenever bodies are talked about, it's good to know. Bo comes by the next day because he was like, "I'll come visit you." So no one... That was like a Friday, I think, so it's like a Saturday. So no one knows about the nude pics yet. Mm-hmm. And Bo asks her on a formal dinner date, all caps, formal dinner date. And Daphne's like, "Well, we gotta get you a formal dress, and don't fucking embarrass the family. You fucking embarrass the family, I will cut your goddamn head off."
With this little doggy.
Formal dinner date. So she gets like groomed by Daphne to be formal, and they do a formal dinner date, and it's whatever. And then they go for a drive, and Bo casually was like, "Maybe I'll be a doctor." Yeah, maybe. And then he is like, "Let's do a fuckins." And she's like, "Whoa." And he says, "I want to be your first." Woof. Again, the prize of like virginity, much like Dawn before her. Mm-hmm. I want to be your first.
Great. We just met week ago.
We just met, and I need to get in there. In there.
We just met, and I'd like to know you as a person first, before I know you biblically.
Before I slam my bangers into your whammer. So they get home, and we find out that Giselle has tattled about Annie Gray. And was like, she has best friends with prostitutes. Punished forever.
And she's like, I fucking wasn't.
Punished forever. The next thing, I think she gets super grounded forever. The next thing I have down is that Beau wants to be painted like one of her French girls.
Yeah, like for some reason he's there. Like they're studying together or something in her art studio.
They're in a play together.
Sorry,
there's like 52 subplots.
There's a lot.
Play together.
And he's like, they're practicing in her studio, and he's just like,
do you ever draw a human form?
Doing like the human form,
she's like, whatever.
Nude men's, and she was like, nah.
A nude men's,
and she was like, nah, and he was just like, well, you literally have to if you're gonna be an artist, and she's like, yeah, well, I'll probably end up doing that in like school and stuff, and he's like, oh, but right now, and she's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't want to do that.
So he's like stripping, and he's like, you better lock the door. Daphne will come in. And I'm just gonna say, instead of locking the door, she could have, when she got up to lock the door, she could have just left.
Could have.
I'm not gonna whatever, but she could have just left.
Don't victim blame.
What victim?
Actually, yeah, don't
anything.
willing participant blame.
We'll get there.
Right now.
So she has to draw his manliness.
And she does like a furious sketching that's like
furious cock sketch. Furious. It was angry.
A frenzied sketching of peniles.
So in true VC fashion, like clothes are just magically whipped off.
Because she's like, okay.
So he's given her. I had many things to say about this interaction. So Beau really needs to stop with these sister comparisons. He's you're so much like softer than Giselle. You're so much nicer than Giselle, like a honka titty better than Giselle. I don't even know. There's like a lot of sister comparisons. So here's Ruby's side of it. Please don't. I tried to resist. It's really fucking questionable consent. The whole time she's like let's not do this. I don't want to do this. Please stop. Don't do this. I guess we're to believe she was just at one stage she's like, okay, like she's just carried away and swept away. But there's a two paragraphs of like,
no thank you,
no thanks, I don't want to do this. So it's very questionable consent in my book. Bothering someone until they give in is not.
I guess like I was more
chuckling at the whole scene.
No, like I was more like reading after that how she was just like, and then I was fucking coming, like
hot climax.
Yeah, like she was just like, I was coming. Yeah. And then she's like, and he was fucking coming.
I've never. Is that how it looks?
Apparently, everyone was just orgasming everywhere immediately.
Religious sex shaming for Ruby, I guess. Daphne looks over. Daphne looks over Ruby as though she is a slave on the auction block. Stop writing that.
Stop writing that. You do not have to write that.
For real, did Ruby forget the nude pics? Because come Monday morning, she was like, everyone was giggling, and I was like, why? You got your fucking nude picture taken.
Yeah. So at school, it's out, and then like, obviously, like she runs away and goes home. And
doesn't she like run off and like squat behind a tree, and some guy's like, what you doing? And she's like, I'm fine.
She falls, like she's running home and she stops in someo's yard
and like takes a breather.
Like an old man comes out and like, that's not a bus stop.
It's the weirdest detail. They really
Thanks for remembering that. That was weird.
And she's upset and she talks to Chef Nina, and it's fucking voodoo time for reals. It's voodoo time for reals. So they go to the voodoo master in like the
Madame Didi.
The slum ghetto. They go to the slum ghetto where we see more people of color in the slum ghetto.
Playing on
tropage.
Playing on yards with no grass.
Yeah. Anyway, I think she gives her like a hair ribbons, and there's a snake.
Nina had the hair ribbon.
That's right. And there's like a snake, and I don't remember.
There's a baby python. A baby python in like a little basket, and she's like, bloop. And then she's like, your sister. And she was like, whoa, wait, too much. She's like,
what's happening?
No.
So
she was like, too late now. She's going to learn to not be an asshole or something. She's going to learn her lesson.
There's a car wreck from the filthy, dirty drug stuff.
Hold on. They blamed Ruby for the nudie pics.
Okay.
Remember? Daphne was like,
obviously don't.
They found out about them and she's like, I can't fucking believe you let this happen. And like, Ruby was like, oh no, like no one knew the boys were hiding. Like she doesn't. That's what happened before she went to go to the voodoo queen.
Okay.
Because fucking Giselle was still an asshole afterwards. Like she didn't say like, yeah, Giselle invited me to this fucking party and they totally set me up. She was just like, no one knew the boys were in the closet. Like, and I love all these photos of her being like, ah! Are clearly like, oh, you posed for that.
Enthusiastic consent. Nope.
No. So yeah, they were just being like, you're a whore. Like, anyways, yes. And then
there's a car wreck from the filthy drug stuff. From the drug stuff.
Yep.
Smoking joints and driving cars.
Yep. Ruby's walking home and Giselle and Martin roll up and like they're smoking doobies and like, hey, you want to ride? And she's like, I'm not fucking going anywhere with you. Thank you very much. And then she goes home.
Thank you.
And like takes a nap or is doing homework or something and she hears some shouting. And then we find out that there was a car accident.
The insignificant boy is dead.
Martin dies.
Boo-hoo. I don't know why I screenshotted this. I think it was the voodoo queen just says, what you want to happen and what you don't want to happen makes no difference. And I was like, oh, okay.
I like that. Okay. It's true.
Giselle's in a wheelchair. Did they say that it's not permanent?
They're kind of like not sure. They're like, she probably won't walk again.
But maybe.
I don't know. I think setting it up for like, I'm not sure what I'm going to write in these next couple of books. So we'll find out. And it doesn't make her any less of a cunt. She's still fucking awful.
She's a mega cunt.
She's so bad. She's like, I am.
But while they're in the hospital, she's in the hospital. Ruby, for some fucking reason, is like, well, I mean, I didn't want something this bad to happen to you, but I definitely did ask a voodoo lady to do a curse on you.
It was an accident. And she's like, I didn't mean for this to happen. I'm sorry. And she was like, wait, what do you mean this? And she was like, well,
what?
Well,
what?
Yeah.
There's Nurse Warren. She has manly features.
Yeah, linebacker trope. Or linebacker trope. Lurch lady.
Anyway, so Nurse Warren is not having it. She's not there for too long. Basically, that Giselle's like, this is hard. She's not there for much of the book, and she hasn't yet reappeared in the next one. Nude sketch found, obviously. Yeah, Daphne finds the nude sketch and flips the fuck out. And, like, calls Beau's parents and, like, yeah, boy's a whore, my daughter's a whore, they're all whores. That's what she sounds like. And then she's, like, just like... Let's go see Uncle Jean. You want to visit him, right? You want to visit him. Let's just... Yeah, Daphne's like, you know what? You know what? I found out a way that you can, like, maybe start, you know, not being horrible to our family. And Ruby, who has not been horrible, is like, oh, my God, yes, please. And she's like, you want to, like, your dad is way too sad after, like, finding out about the nudie pictures and the Giselle's
nudie
accident.
painting and the fucking accident. So, like, she's like, I'm visiting Jean. It's his birthday. You come with me because your dad's too sad to go. And she was like, that's amazing. I really wanted to go visit him anyways. Yes. So, thank you. I was not suspicious until the doctor started asking about Ruby's physical and mental health. Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely immediately seems like she's dropping Ruby off there. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because he's just like, so how you doing? And she's like, clearly she's fine, physically. And I was just like, why the fuck would he be asking about that? Mm. So he's like, let's go take a tour. And she's like, are you coming, Daphne? And Daphne's like, I've seen it. I've seen it. So she's like, all right. So she's going on this tour because she's like, this is a nice place for Uncle Jean to live. This is very interesting for him. And he's like, yeah. There's a patient there that has sweet potato red hair. They tell her to just relax. And then she's been diagnosed with nymphomania. They're like, you're in for an evaluation. She's like, what's wrong with me? And they're like, you know what's wrong. They were like, just relax. And then she's like, but what is wrong with, like, you need to tell me what you're assuming that I have. And he was like, you're clearly an nymphomaniac. And she's like, what? Rust-colored eyes. Is that the guy with sweet potato red hair? Anyway, there's a young man. She meets an indecisive young man named Lyle Black. Like, apparently he's there because he can't make any decisions, which just sounds like major anxiety is what's going on with that poor young man. Like, just major anxiety. He's just, like, been there forever. He's about the same age as her. He can't decide whether he should leave or stay. Yep. So that's what he said. But like he's very like to grips with this. He's like, yeah, I'm saying this now. Like she asked him questions like, I'm saying this now, but like who knows if I'm gonna change my mind later. I can't make decisions.
So she's like, my uncle Jean is here too. He's like, oh, I know Jean.
Yeah,
I'm like
apparently
the
he's the
person.
only. She meets up with the only person who knows him. She's like, he can't fucking stand anyone, but he likes me. And also, it's not his fucking birthday because they make a big deal. I love how she still believes like it's his birthday. That's such a weird coincidence.
She's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, and he's like, yeah, I could probably help you, but ask me later. I might change my mind.
Yep.
So they go to like, he's like, maybe after lunch. So
because you'll see your uncle will be at lunch. You'll be able to notice him immediately because he's fucking dressed to the nines.
He wears a seersucker and a cravat.
I love that.
Yep. And so he doesn't say anything, and so she's like, hi, I'm not Giselle. You never met me. I look like Giselle. I'm sorry. And he's like, well, he's not screaming, so he must like you. And then I saw a jib.
Yeah, he just starts yelling jib.
Jib.
Jib!
So they go, so then, what's his face?
Lyle.
Lyle is like...
They're outside, like, on the lawns for a long time.
He's like, if you want to go, you're going to go when we're outside. You're going to ask to go to the bathroom. You're going to turn down hallway 72, down. There's no bars in the window in the laundry.
Yep, go.
So pretty fucking easy escape.
Yeah, like...
Again, very tense.
So she escapes to the laundry room, and, like, she's like, come with me, like, nah. But then I wrote my next note was, this is a very busy day.
Right.
She's, like, trapped in an institution for, like, 3 hours. It's not like days and weeks and months that like she has to figure it out. Like she's like, I don't want to fucking be here. And he's just like, oh yeah, I can help you get out, do that. And she's like, all right, later. And like she just like runs and gets on a bus. Like, it's done. A very busy day. And can you imagine Daphne just being like, what the fuck? Foiled again.
I know, right? Sidebar. Pretty sure Jean knows a heck ton about that Daphne Gabrielle situation.
Oh yeah, I bet he does. Yep.
It comes out, so she finally gets home.
Daphne's
was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You fucking pesky lady.
And Ruby's like, don't fucking talk to me. I'm going to go talk to my dad. She's like, oh yeah, go try to talk to him.
She was like, I really run this shit. I run Dumas Enterprises. What the fuck is Dumas Enterprise? Like, what is this business?
I don't actually know.
What is this business? Did they ever say? It's the Enterprises.
Yes, it's the Starship Enterprises.
Yes. Pierre just straight up, got pissed off and like whipped boat bits at his brother.
Yeah, well, she goes up there and she's like, fucking, let's go. He yelled this and he's like, fuck, yeah, there was a storm and we were doing stuff. And like,
he made fun of me so much.
He let it go. He let the jib go and it whacked John in the head. And that's why he's all messed up.
There's a bit about like, he was like, well, Jean was so much better at everything and I didn't want to go out in the weather and he kept making fun of me. And I was like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. And I just like whipped part of the boat at him. And
we think that there was something going on with Jean and Daphne as well.
Like I feel like that.
A furious situation. So Ruby's like, cool, guess what? We need to stop fucking lying now. Like, we're going to stop lying. Yeah. Giselle needs to know what's up. Like, we can't keep this going. Like, lying is only going to get worse. Yeah, and he's like, fair. Okay, you're right.
Because they've told Giselle, that Daphne is really Ruby's mom and doesn't know anything about the Swamp Princess.
Right.
Gabrielle.
So,
after all that, Pierre's like, all right.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Because like he's like, you're right. There's enough lies. There's enough loss. Like, let's just all come clean. And Giselle's like pissed at first, but then like at the end of this book, it seems like she kind of comes around. She gets kind of cool and she's like asking questions. That doesn't last. I'm just gonna say.
She flirts with half brother Paul. Runs in the family.
Yep.
All of their moisture runs in the family. Paul says there hasn't been anyone else for me.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And then we end on...
Well, Pierre was like... Because she's like, so Paul's actually... And Pierre's like, yeah, your mom wasn't a liar. I know about Paul. And also, y'all should go to boarding school next year.
Yeah, the end.
The end. Y'all should go to boarding school next year. The end.
The end. Yeah. Freight trains full of methamphetamine. Because all that stuff happened, and then it's like... institution. We're at an institution now, and you think that could be a whole, at least half a book.
Yeah.
The institution, things at the institution, escaping from the institution. No, it's like a bit, just like a little bit.
It's interesting though, because I feel like in the same amount of pages, it could have been lasted over weeks. It could have just been like, and then the next week I finally got an evaluation. Like, you know how things happen. But no, it's just a very busy day. And, but I do like Pierre and Ruby's relationship. It's like he's so relieved when she shows up and he's like, oh my fucking God, like some woman in my life who isn't an asshole. Like, he's just always side-eyeing her. Like every time like Daphne or Giselle says something, he like catches his eyes with her.
They're always like, oh, you.
And then he's just like, which is cute. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm excited about that. Like we have like a good dad.
Yes.
Like flawed.
With his bouts of melancholia.
Yeah, like he's flawed for sure. I feel like this is the kind of dad that Sexy Antelope would have been. Troy. Yeah. Troy. Okay. Yeah. Troy would have been a Pierre type. I think that's what would have gotten.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Just
great,
like enthusiastic, but also like I'm gonna go have a sad.
I put this penciled into my day planner. Excuse me.
Sad.
I'm gonna go weep. And sweep.
But yeah, first book into the Landry series.
A big old swamp kiss. Is it
like a bullfrog?
Yep.
Marsh hawks always giving people side eyes. Happens in the books.
Gator munch. I hope we get back to the swamp. Yeah.
I do too.
Next one is Pearl in the Mist,
which is kind of like finding the clitoris.
Thank you. Yes, it do be. Eh? Huh? Close. The end and goodbye. I'm freezing.
And Tia.
It's actively snowing out. Yep.
It might be coming from the sky. We're far away from the bayou. I wish I had that.
We are so far away from the bayou. We don't have any andouille sausage.
Andouille.
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 I don't know how to end videos.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm worse at it than when we end the audio.
This is good, what we're doing here. What if we just keep making random statements and trailing off and waiting for the other person to hit the button? Thanks for listening to the VC Species podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Technical support was provided by Boo and Matt. Thanks for answering all of my stupid questions.
Video wizardry provided by Coburn. Thanks for taking on our very special projects. Music is Dust in My Attic by Broke MC, used under Creative Commons license.
Email us at vcspeciespodcast@gmail.com with your thoughts or comments.
You can also follow us on Instagram. We are at VCPodcast.
New episodes are released every other Friday to give you time to read along. In the meantime, take a seat on the gallery. Ignore your spoiled sister.
And